Okay, Sean, Katie, Sean. Podcast day, Wednesday. Today. It's not today, today's Sunday, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, there's a trailer.
Okay.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare
3.
3.
It says 3.
This is 3.
Okay.
So, they brought out a new thing on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Played a little mission with a bunch of people, and then it revealed essentially the trailer, the gameplay trailer. Of course, you could do what I did, which was just go on YouTube and watch the trailer. I couldn't be bothered to go through the game. But it had me thinking, because I saw the gameplay trailer, and there's a certain moment in this trailer that a lot of die-hard Call of Duty fans will know what it's a reference to. Okay. Frankly, a lot of video gamers will know what it's a reference to. And frankly, a lot of people who think they're very clever will know what it's... Sorry, people who think they're very clever but aren't very clever will know what it's a reference to. Yeah, so a lot of people who think they're smart but aren't actually smart will also know what it's a reference to.
Is this a dig at me? Are
No,
you saying I won't get it?
No. I mean, you won't get it, but when I'm saying people who are smart, who think they're smart but aren't smart, that's not a dig at you. And I will explain. All right? Okay. But first, we'll watch, and then I'll show you what it's a reference to, and then we'll talk about it. Okay? So I'm, of course, referring to the 4-1 in the trailer, but let's watch the trailer first.
We need to roll under the radar to get this done.
Let's make sure they don't see
Underwater missions.
Ominous music.
Need to know if he's working with Moscow.
We're in position.
Let's go to work, Bravo. He knows you're coming.
Who is he?
That is the question, isn't it? It's my mum's abnormally loud sneezes.
Devastation on a global scale.
Oh.
Do you know who that was?
That was Zac Efron.
No, that was McTavish.
Oh, it looked like Zac Efron.
Did you hear what he said there?
No. You distracted me.
He said he was killing civilians. That, no Russian. That's the he. Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, I'm just going to forget that bit because that's the bit that annoys a lot of Call of Duty fans.
Yeah, you have to pay for the game, then you have to pay
You have to
ridiculous
pay
money for all the
300.
added
Yeah,
on.
you have to pay 300 quid.
Do you know what it is, right? And this Call of Duty is such a big game because I have a family who plays Call of Duty. I don't think I've ever actually played like the campaign, just the online games. I mean, we have pretty much played all of them.
If you'd played the campaign, you would have known what that was a reference to.
Right. But it just, for me, right, it's like they keep on releasing new games. And I suppose, okay, so the campaign is probably different. But I'm kind of just like, they keep on releasing these new games and they're massive, and so you're like, it's like, it just seems pointless. You know what I mean?
So, the point that we're going to talk about isn't about the size of the games and the new games.
I know, I was just pointing that out.
So, did you know that the Modern Warfares are remakes?
No.
So, obviously there's Modern Warfare 3, 2 and 1.
Yeah.
Right, that came out recently. I don't know if they came out one after the other, but they're the most recent ones. And they're remakes of games that came out, I think the first one came out in like 2008 or something. First Modern Warfare. And the first Modern Warfare was the one that like really kicked off Call of Duty. Yeah. Because there's been Call of Duty games before that. But they were always in a back and forth with a game called Medal of Honor. You might have heard of that one.
I've heard of it. I don't think I've ever actually played it.
Yeah, so they always kind of went back and forwards. Medal of Honor and Call of Duty. What is going on up there? It's a bike rally or something. And Modern Warfare happened. I think it was 2008. That year seems familiar, and it basically killed Medal of Honor. Medal of Honor was done after that. Literally, like, I think they brought one more game out, and then they stopped making Medal of Honor games because they just couldn't compete with Call of Duty. And basically, the premise of Modern Warfare 1 through 3 at the time, I'm not sure if they did Modern Warfare 3. I can't remember if they did Modern Warfare 3 or if it ended with Modern Warfare 2. But basically, there was a character called Captain Price, who you might have seen before. He's the guy who's got the handles, as a moustache, proper thick London accent.
Yeah.
You know, he's probably like Ray Winston, like he's that guy. And he creates a special task force called Task Force 141 to hunt down terrorists.
Okay.
And that was the sort of premise. But then there's this terrorist who is really bad. It's called Makarov. And Makarov basically starts World War 3.
Okay.
And that was the sort of the story. You were hunting Makarov. You played 3 or 4 different perspectives. You played a guy called Soap, who you were saying, Soap McTavish. That was the guy who I said was Soap McTavish. There's a guy called Gaz. There's a guy who's very famous now called Ghost. You might have heard of him. There's a guy who's literally got a ghost mask on. He's very popular, let's say. And basically, there was a mission in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 called No Russian, right? And it was a very, very, very infamous mission. Very, very infamous.
In a good way or in a bad way?
Very well, bad and good. So I thought I would show you the mission as well. But I'm not going to show you the whole mission because it's 7 minutes long, but you'll get the general gist of it and why it was so infamous very, very quickly.
Okay.
Okay, so let's watch. Play now. The mission's called No Russian.
Remember No Russian.
Yep. Yep. And frankly, I don't have to show you much more.
They're just killing people.
That's the entire mission, is just you walking through an airport killing civilians.
Why?
Well, that is the question, isn't it? Yeah, that's
So
pretty
that's
much.
why in the other one you showed us, he says about killing civilians.
He says he's killing civilians, and the message he gets, it says it's from a person called M. It says No Russian, and then you see him sort of shoot someone on a plane, don't you?
So that's just what it is. No Russian is just killing civilians.
Well,
Kind of.
it's a reference to this mission, because when that mission came out, there was basically gigantic backlash. I mean,
I can imagine, yeah.
absolutely gigantic, because what ended up happening was, I think it was a school shooter. About a year after the game came out, he went in and shot up a school, and loads of sort of, left-wing nutters came out and said, oh, well, he played Call of Duty a lot. And it was basically that sort of kick-started politicians going, well, kids shouldn't be allowed to play video games because things like that happen. And I wanted to get your opinion, because it is a very thingy topic. Whenever a Call of Duty game comes out, it always resurfaces. Whenever games like GTA come out, it always resurfaces.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get your opinion, find out what you think. Because in the game, there is a choice. It gives you a choice at the beginning of the in the old game. Sorry, it gives you a choice, and it says you can skip the mission if you want. So you don't have to do the mission.
Right.
But there's also the option. I mean, you see there, the guy that was playing it there did actually shoot the people. You can't actually go through the mission without shooting anyone, because the mission ends the same way, and you can't shoot the people that you're with either. If you shoot them, the mission fails. You failed. So yeah, what do you think?
It's weird. Like, I completely understand why there's like, it just feels unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was it pivotal to the story, or was it?
Well, the big thing is that he's the big bad guy behind everything.
So are you playing the bad guy when
No.
you're doing that? So
The main bad guy was the one who turned to you and went, no Russian.
Okay.
He's the main bad guy. The guy that you were playing there is an undercover CIA agent trying to get close to him.
Yeah,
I'll just tell you, basically the way that mission ends is whether you kill everyone or not. Well, I mean, obviously everyone gets killed because those lots shoot them anyway. But when you get to the end of the mission, they're sort of jumping into a van and he puts his hand out to take you. You give him his hand, you give him your hand, and then he shoots you. He kills you. So it doesn't matter whether you kill the civilians or not, you die at the end. But that character's not really all that important. What's important is you need to see what kind of person Makarov is and why they're so desperate to catch him.
I understand that they could do that without having you take part, though. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they could show you, like, I don't know, CCTV footage of him going around doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think is there not already age restrictions on these games?
Yep.
There is, isn't there?
Yep. And there's always that common thing that people say where it's like, well, why do you have to be 18 to play COD, but 16 to join the army? You know, it's things.
There's arguments like that about everything in life, isn't there?
Yeah. This is Gaz.
Where's the one that looks like Zac Efron? I thought he looks like Zac Efron, doesn't
That's
he?
that's Soap McTavish.
You can't tell me he doesn't look like Zac Efron.
That's Ghost. You can probably guess why he's called Ghost.
'Cause
And he's also English. All the cool characters in these are British. But there's no northeastern British people.
No, because we're kind of a forgotten corner.
Yeah.
Of the
There's
UK.
you can guess which country Soap McTavish is from. You know, because it's got Mc in.
McTavish.
Yeah. This is Price. And he's the leader. And the thing that was so great about these original games is because all these characters are actually really good. They're good characters as well.
Yeah.
Like Price is cool. Ghost is cool because he's the ultimate sort of hard case. Like where all of them need like the team to be with them. Ghost is like the
Just by
loner.
himself.
Yeah. Soap's just loyal to a fault. So is Gaz. But it's things like this as well. They launch missiles. I think in the original, I think it was Iran or somewhere got nuked. In the original, you start off the game, and Iran gets nuked.
Right.
So basically, he's trying to kickstart World War III.
I mean, it's modern warfare, isn't it? So
Yeah.
it's like futuristic. Obviously, I knew that.
Not like dead futuristic. This is like nowadays.
Yeah, but it's obviously not like you know.
And
It's
just so you're aware, Captain Price was in like Call of Duty 2, fought in like World War II.
Oh, so it's just like,
So he's about 130 years old, yeah. Because he's the same age in all the games.
well, if they don't give a time frame on them, then you know.
He said some.
It's killing civilians.
He's killing civilians.
So is this gonna?
So
that happened in the second one, didn't it? Modern Warfare 2, that like the shooting in the airport.
Yep.
So
I think it ended with Modern Warfare 2 as well.
So do you think this will give like a different perspective on it?
I
It
don't
might
know.
try and like, I don't know. The fact of referencing it, and it's a big if it's as controversial as what
Yeah, that's.
is what you're saying.
It was very controversial, yeah, because people basically said kids shouldn't be allowed to play video games. Didn't matter what game they were talking about. They basically said kids shouldn't be allowed to play video games.
See, I don't agree on that. That's a bit extreme. I do agree on violent games like
Age restrictions.
Call of Duty should have an age restriction. I think GTA should have an age restriction.
Oh yeah.
Stuff games like that, fair enough, should, but just like cause you can get kids games, you can get like Roblox on you know, it's like that's like literally made for kids.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like,
But they basically, I think the people who made it, I can't remember if it's Treyarch or Activision. I think it's Activision. Basically came out and said we're not shying away from
yeah.
controversy.
I mean, that's what they built the entire thing.
Yeah.
You could argue any of it's controversial. The fact they're doing like a third world war. The fact they've got this, you know.
There's a potential to shoot like civilians in quite a few of the games. Like in the first remake, Modern Warfare, you see a guy in a bomb vest who's been sort of kidnapped and put in this bomb vest. Like he's not part of the organisation or anything. and they're trying to disarm it, and he can't disarm it. Price is trying to disarm it, and he can't disarm it. So he grabs the gauge and he throws him over the side, and the guy blows up. It's like, well,
Yeah.
in the sort of stereotypical superhero game, you would have saved the guy, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the game's about war. It's about warfare. It's like this task force is built specifically to hunt terrorists. And what is it terrorists do? They attack civilians, don't they?
Yeah.
Because there was already controversy because at the end of the last campaign, I'm pretty sure there's a plane that flies into a stadium.
Right.
It's in a place called Verdansk. And I think that's what you see in there. Like when you see this guy who's on an airplane, he shoots a guy. I think it's like a flashback, so you'll see it from his point of view. But by all accounts, there is going to be a no Russian mission as well. You see, it's weird, isn't it?
It's not. Thing is, I don't think I understand why people don't like it because like you go around, you're killing civilians, but it's like it's a game. It's not real life, and you know that it's not the right thing to do because the bad guy is right there and he's the one that's instigating it. So you know.
And what people, one of the biggest arguments that people had was, they were like, well, firstly, when the first Modern Warfare 2 came out, it sold like 1 billion copies, and there was only like 2 people who they linked like gun violence to Modern Warfare, and said, so 2 out of 1 billion isn't terrible. You would prefer to have like none, but considering that number is quite ridiculous. And then there was other people who were like, well, the thing is, this is in America. There was no gun violence in England.
Yeah.
There was no gun violence where there's guns. And so, I really don't want this to be a political thing.
Yeah, I feel like it would be too.
But it was just, it's an interesting topic to talk about because it's kind of like video games are becoming art now. Like, there's a reason a lot of studios are going, right, well, let's do Super Mario, let's do Barbie, let's do, these things. It's because games and toys are becoming almost more enjoyable than films are nowadays. So can you?
I think this whole video games would be like looking more and more realistic.
Yeah,
like the
true,
quality of video games are just changing massively.
But they also, the size of them are just ridiculous. You get like a 400 gigabyte hard drive of the PlayStation, but like all the games are like 200 gigabyte size. So it's like you can only have 2 games on your PlayStation. It's
honestly crazy.
Yeah.
It's like I've never like actually just played the campaign though for Call of Duty.
I always do. I've always played the campaign before I go online because I like to see
like the story.
I like a good story. Don't get us wrong, there's been a few, and there's a reason that they're remaking these games because there's been quite a few Call of Duties that have been proper pants, like terrible games.
Right.
Not just online or the story, but in general, they're just not very good. So they went back to these because these were.
Yeah, like remastered.
Yeah, these were the big ones. But there's actually the story in it as well, is because as you can imagine, it's warfare. Not every character survives, right? And it's really good with some of the story. Seeing these characters, because it is sad when some of these characters die. There's some of the characters don't make it. I'll tell you now, there's only one character that you see in this trailer that actually survives the other games. All the rest of them pretty much die. Because you never know, we might get you to play them and see if let you experience the magic. But with these, they've actually changed it quite a lot. The story's different.
Okay.
There's still general similarities. Like there's a character called General Shepard who does the same thing just differently.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's. I always hate when Call of Duty comes out. Well, I don't hate it, but I enjoy playing Call of Duty. But I hate it because the same argument comes out. They always ask you for 180 quid for, special skins and all the DLCs and 50 tier skips, and it's like
so much storage as well.
I know.
Downloading one of the Call of Duty games takes up like all of your storage,
and it takes all day to do it.
And there's like an update every time you go back on.
I guarantee you some of these comments will say exactly the same thing. Let's have a look. Yeah, look, this is going to be the DLC of all time. Same multiplayer, yeah. $500, yeah.
Battle Pass.
And that's true as well. Take 2 steps backwards to be able to take a step forward. Because that's the thing, the game would be absolutely fantastic if they stopped doing the same stupid thing, which is ask for £200 just for some skins.
I know, they should make them like, so you play the game, then you unlock them.
Yeah. Well, you can do that.
Yeah. But like, that should just be, like, it's... Nah, it's stupid. I'm not. I mean, we play it pretty much all the time, don't we? Like...
Yeah.
So we still...
Go play it.
Yeah.
Every day.
We still play it, but it's just like...
We're not paying £200 for the whole thing. I'm more looking forward to the campaign than the online, because like that comment said, the online hasn't changed at all. The only thing that's changed is the maps.
Well, that's what I feel like they should just have like Call of Duty Online, where it's like a separate thing, and instead of buying a new one every like however long they decide to make them, they just keep on updating it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then do the campaign separately. Like, why are you... They constantly do it, and you go on, it's like, oh, that's an old map.
That's because they can't make loads of money off the campaign. It's the online that they make all the money off, isn't it? It's the same with GTA. That's why GTA's... It's never released a DLC for the campaign, but the online constantly releases new DLCs. Because people will pay through the nose to get all the cool looking stuff, instead of just, playing the game. I don't. Yeah, that was basically what I wanted to ask you, because it's, like I say, it's a very touchy subject, and I guarantee we'll probably end up doing another podcast talking about it when it comes out, because it will be in the media again if there's a mission like that. But again, the point is, I can't remember if they've made a bad guy that was as bad as Makarov. And it's because of things like that. It's like, he's a terrorist. Yeah. You're hunting this terrorist.
Well, the thing is that argument, like, should kids play video games or not? Like, you can make the same argument for movies. Should kids be allowed to watch movies? It's like, there are movies where there's characters that do terrible things. And, like, that's why there's age restrictions. That's why kids shouldn't watch those movies. If you let your kids watch the movies, don't complain if they're watching stuff you don't want them to watch. Yeah. It's the same with the games. If you don't want them to play the games, then don't let them. And then they'll be fine. That's
the thing. Can someone who's under 18 afford to buy Call of Duty nowadays? Can someone who's under 16 afford to buy Call of Duty nowadays? It's like, the only way that kids who shouldn't be playing this game can play this game is if
the parents
buy it. So it's like, it's not the kids' fault that they're playing these games. Just don't buy them the games.
Yeah. Or do research on the games and decide if you want to play the game.
It's like, yeah, it's because it's the same with the movie. If you go to the cinema and you don't look 18, they'll not let you into an 18 film.
Yeah, but if you try and sneak your kid into an 18 movie and then complain that the movie was too violent or too...
who's to blame?
Yeah.
It's not the kid, it's you. It's like, and make no mistake, we're not saying that the people who did the school shootings and stuff weren't to blame, because obviously they were to blame.
Yeah.
But you can't blame the game.
The pure with that, like, separate, that whole argument separate, the pure argument of just should kids be allowed to watch video games, I think it's a bit stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's because they're interactive now. Well, they've always been interactive. It's a game, but it's a lot easier to get past an age restriction on a game than it is for a film.
Yeah.
Although, like, I suppose that's not true, because people can buy DVDs for films. It's a lot harder to go and see an over 18 film in the cinema. That's what I'm saying.
Just if you're that worried about it, like if you're finding an issue with it, then just stop your children from playing it. Make sure they don't play it. Yeah. That's what age restrictions are for.
Yeah. But this will probably be the biggest Call of Duty game for a long time. Modern Warfare 3. Because there's a lot of things that haven't happened that did happen in the originals. A lot of characters are still alive. But I swear, I don't think they made a Modern Warfare 3. I'm trying to remember. I don't think they made a Modern Warfare 3. I think this is the first one it's sort of a remaster, but it's not, because they never did a Modern Warfare 3. They had ended with Modern Warfare 2.
Right, so what do you even call that?
A remoot? A remastered reboot?
But it's a sequel at the same time?
Yeah, but it's a sequel of, and all the events in it are going to be the same as what happened in one of the other games.
very confusing.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it though. I haven't been this excited
I
for
like
Call
the
of
look
Duty.
of the underwater stuff.
Yeah.
Because they started doing that in the what was it? What's the one we've got? When we play?
Modern Warfare 2.
Is that is that one?
Yeah.
Because you can go underwater and that kind of, you can kill people
Oh,
underwater
yeah.
in some of the maps.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've not played the campaigns. I don't know if that's in the campaign.
Yeah, it's in the camp.
But on the online, you can do that. So it'd be cool if there was more like underwater stuff.
But there's been underwater missions on the campaign for a long time.
Is there?
Yep.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, there's been all sorts in the campaign.
wouldn't know.
You could control a dog at one point in the campaign.
Why have I never played the campaign? Is it Call of Duty?
I don't know.
Was it Call of Duty? Do you like the old zombies game? Can you still get like which one was it? Where it's like, was that Call of Duty where it was like zombies and it was in rounds and you're in like a building and you would have to like build up the boards
Yeah,
and you
it's
would
Call
have
of
to.
Duty, yeah.
Was that Call of Duty?
I think it was Modern Warfare 2 where the first one of them came out.
Because that was terrifying. That was like
It's gonna be zombies on this as well. Except it's gonna be open world zombies apparently. The Treyarch, I know that one for sure. The Treyarch is done, and they're the ones who.
See, because I like stuff like that, like Infected on online. We like Infected.
Yeah.
That's good.
There's a few game modes that they keep taking off and putting back on, and it's
No,
just
it's like
just leave it on.
It's like, for the love of God, stop taking Infected off. It's pretty much all I play.
Yeah. Because there's Infected, there's Gun Game, there's Sticks and Stones. I mean, come on, no one wants to play Team Deathmatch anymore. It's so boring.
I think though that stuff like that, it's interesting. Like you can still play Team Deathmatch.
Team Deathmatch is only there so you
It's
can
like-
level up your guns. That's the only reason.
If
Team
you're
Deathmatch
good.
is there. Yeah, that's true.
Some of us aren't as good as the others,
Yeah, that's true.
and we just enjoy the laughs of. There's not more terrifying than when you're playing Infected, and there's all of a sudden there's like 10 of yous, and then there's just one of yous, and there's a horde coming towards you. That's terrifying, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's very fun. So yeah, let us know if you want us to do some more Call of Duty stuff. We might play the game. I might take Katie through the originals and the new ones. But let me know if that's something you'd want to see, and let us know your opinion on the no Russian debate. I suppose that's what I'll have to call this episode, the no Russian debate.
Why Russian? Is it because he's Russian?
Yeah,
Weird.
I think he's Russian. You're actually fighting the Russians in Modern Warfare 2. That's who the main bad guys are, I think. Can't remember. Yeah, so let us know what you think down in the comments. Like the video, subscribe, ding the bell to be notified when we upload. We're trying to upload every day. Anything else you want to say?
I mean, look at like the skin texture on that thumb.
Yeah, but that's a cutscene. That's not the game.
I know, but the point I'm trying to make is the quality is good.
Like that's
It's getting insane now with video games. Sometimes you look at them and you're like, is that a real person? Is that live action? Or is that just, you're like looking and you're like...
And the thing is as well is that this is a game that they've barely even taken a year to make.
It's scary.
And then you get games like GTA that they take 7 or 8 years to make. And then you never run out of things to do in games like that. Like GTA is still selling at full price, and its DLCs are still selling at full price, and it's the biggest game that's ever been made.
Yeah.
It's the same with loads of games. Like if you played Cyberpunk would blow your mind as well. Because games are basically becoming like, you know, some of them are like 60-hour long films that you decide what happens in them.
Craziness.
Yeah. But, yeah. Thank you for watching. I always thought it was called No Sprechen Sie Russian. That just sound better. Like, 'cause that's the phrase, isn't it? No Sprechen Sie Russian. Sprechen Sie, that means no, I don't speak Russian, doesn't it?
You're asking the wrong person here.
Yeah, I know.
I need to know.